Hey there, folks, and thank you once again for tuning into your favorite red haired, silver tongued devil with a heart of gold and a chip on both shoulders. You're here watching Rogue Reviews. And this is your handsome and dashing host, Alex Young. And today I am here to talk about the amazing Imitation Game. Because not only is this rightfully so nominated for tons and tons of awards and has received acclaim from numerous media outlets, but I gotta be honest with you folks, I actually saw it in theaters twice because I thought it was so incredibly enjoyable, and let me tell you why. First of all, just a quick little recap. The Imitation Game is a World War II period piece based around the incredible work of the one and only prodigious mathematician Alan Turing, who was basically kept under wraps and treated as an international secret for almost 50 years after he saved the world during World War II after solving the one and only elusive, mysterious Nazi code known as Enigma. And basically, that's what the film centers around: is the one and only Benedict Cumberbatch playing Alan Turing, and him harvesting a team of geniuses that take an unorthodox approach to basically winning a military battle as a duel of wits. So rather than using guns and ammo, they're there using their sharpened intellect to find a way to play the ultimate mind game against the Nazis and save their beloved Britain. But first of all, what is there not to say about Benedict Cumberbatch? Like, this guy, sure, he made his bones on Sherlock and he made a lot of big waves with, like, breaking into the industry by playing the amazing Khan, which is my favorite Star Trek villain in Star Trek Into Darkness. To me, he was the best part of that movie for his incredibly riveting and dramatic performance in a movie that was, for the most part, popcorn entertainment. And although it was a lot of fun, I felt like he actually did bring the darkness into darkness, if you catch my flow. And then, he finally got a chance to completely reinvent himself once he got his foot in the door by, just essentially putting on the dramatic method that he's famous for in 12 Years a Slave and August Osage County, but we finally see him step into the true spotlight with Imitation Game as he plays this tortured genius that has no real way, well, no real understanding of how to interact with people because he is essentially wrapped up in his own isolation and knows how to communicate to the world through his own academia and deciphers the entire reality around him through numbers. And when he's given a task in charge of a large amount of human lives and asked to save essentially the only country he's ever come to love, he is the real challenge isn't not just building the machine that's going to defeat the Nazis. It's basically learning how to become the leader of a team, which also includes the incredible supporting ensemble and performance of Keira Knightley, who did an incredible job as playing the ultimate emotional, yin to Cumberbatch's yang, in the sense that she not only holds a lot of his secrets despite being looked down on as being a woman and not being taken as seriously intellectually, especially in a time like the 1940s, whereas not only does it's not that he comes to her rescue or she's exactly a damsel in distress, but they very much defend each other. But she plays a very large part in teaching him how to be more human, and not only to have a sense of humor, but how to be more compassionate and empathetic and even sympathetic to a degree, which is no easy feat to a man who really essentially feels nothing unless he's achieving something. But the incredible part is that most people forget that the Imitation Game is actually a true story. And Alan Turing was essentially a classified recluse for many, many years while still living open in the public. And, until he met his untimely demise much later in life, he created the initial concept for a lot of digital computers and the entire idea of understanding how machines can think, and not necessarily developing artificial intelligence, but more, you know, he deciphers them and describes them as brains made of copper and steel and wire. and essentially bridging the gap between humanity and technology and learning how we can essentially work together. And when most people think World War II movie, they think of like Saving Private Ryan or Inglorious Bastards and, Enemy at the Gates. And not that those aren't incredible films, but The Imitation Game was, I felt, much closer to something more like The King's Speech, where it was all about the political dynamics in the backdrop that played in the international emergency that was the rise of the Nazis in the 1940s, and all of these different countries learning how to kind of bury the hatchets, their respective hatchets, and form what came to be known as the Allies. And so it's a much more compelling story in the sense that it might not be about the soldiers in the trenches, and I'm not saying that makes it better. It's just very different than what most people are used to hearing when it comes to an essential war film. But that's also what made it very much more intriguing to me in a lot of different ways, because it was so much more out of the ordinary in that regard. And it was a very incredibly inspiring and human story, because it's all about taking abstract ideas that nobody really believes in but yourself and turning them into the tangible in order to prove that, as Einstein once said, imagination is really more important than knowledge in some regards. And if you're really looking for a reason to get off your butt and see some of the films that got nominated for Best Picture, do yourself a favor and definitely check out Imitation Game. You'll not only see why Benedict Cumberbatch is, basically the toast of the town when it comes to Hollywood now, for his like visual chameleon like quality and his ability to just like really sink into any role. But, overall I thought it was a very awe-inspiring picture. But no, he's definitely built himself up to be like, in the mold of actors like Gary Oldman and Daniel Day-Lewis, and it was incredibly amazing to see him take the lead for a change and, create one of the best pictures of 2014. But feel free to leave a comment and follow up with me on Twitter at the Alex R Young and let me know what you think. And go ahead and subscribe, like, and or share if you'd like to keep seeing more Killer Rogue reviews. That's all for me right now, folks, and do yourselves a favor and keep on tuning in so I can give you a slice of the good stuff. Adios, folks, and I'll catch you next time.